all wear masks. Every one of us. Some masks are rewarded, and some masks get you punished. We have respectable masks, job titles, degrees, church dedications and trophies, community standings, certificates, Facebook friends. He's the life of the party. Then there's shame masks. Drug addict, alcoholic, codependent, ADHD, domestic abuser, family fuck up, black sheep. And there's masks of denial. See no evil. Hear no evil. Speak no evil. Pearl-clutching religious hypocrisy. It's interesting. Those that wear the masks of denial, those that keep the ball rolling, this abuse cycle, they're the most judgmental. They eat and drink themselves to death because that's socially acceptable. They don't have food addictions. They just have weight problems, and it runs in the family. Drugs, cracking, breaking, that's moral failure, and for that you will be judged. Masks hide pain. Masks protect abusers. And masks punish truth tellers. This is Unmasked. I'm your host, Jason Fortune. Today is Thursday. It's December 25th, and it's Christmas. And I know there's boxes laying everywhere, and paper is unwrapped, and families are hanging out. And in some places it's actually cool. Some places it's filled with stress. But this is my Christmas today. And while I'm having an excellent day spending it with my family, I'm taking time to do Unmasked. And it's day 11. We're at the end of a 3-part story. The story is about my intergenerational trauma. It spans over 5 to 6 generations. That started out on a farm on the borderlands of Kansas and Colorado back in the 1930s. So, almost 100 years ago. And it went before that. That was just this farm that we're talking about, the farm that lives inside of us. Before that, there were other farms. We come from a farming family, this part of the tree I'm talking about. In this family, my family that I'm talking about, but in every family that has the abuse cycle and has intergenerational trauma, there's family roles. There's the abusers. There's the deniers, the conformers, and the survivors. So that's where we are now. The first story that I told you was a story 2 days ago that started with my grandpa. Now, yesterday I told you the story of how it translated through the family tree into my mother and on into me and my family, and how that was what came of all that. Today I finish with the rest of our family tree, which is my grandparents, my grandpa that I talked with, him and my grandma's other 3 children. And how the reason I'm telling this story is to illustrate what complex PTSD, what intergenerational trauma, how it ravages a family and what happens to that family when the secrets are never told. And believe me, these secrets do not want to be told. I've already been emailed by my mom, who I haven't talked to in years. And what I'm talking about, all these people would rather just go to the grave. Maybe even some of the survivors would rather go to the grave. And that's why no names are involved. We're just talking about a story. And even though I do feel this story could be a little bit extreme, it's an American story. It's a story of isolated farmers in the Midwest, and this isn't in my conversations with therapists and different people throughout the last 6 years of this coming to this. I've been told over and over again, this is not a common story, or I'm sorry, this is not an uncommon story that you're relating to me. I've heard it, and I've heard it, and I've heard it again. This is a story of what happens when isolation occurs, secrets are held, and they breed like cancer, like I've been talking about, and they are deathly, and they kill. You know what? Let's go ahead and take a chance to go ahead and ground before I really start the story. Let's all put our feet on the ground if you have a chance. If you don't, feel the bed, feel the chair, feel the couch, feel what's ever holding you. Go ahead and ground into that. Go ahead and take a deep breath with me. How we want to do this is through the nostrils, through the nose. Take a deep breath through the nose and fill your lungs to the count of 4 or 5. Hold it for a little bit at the top. And now exhale slowly for a count of 6. Another large inhale through your nose with a little hold at the top. And exhale everything out and relax into the story. Look around you. Look in your room. See where you're at. You're connected. And you're safe. Before we get back to the story, I'll go ahead and issue a trigger warning. I'm going to be not talking about stuff that is deeply graphic, but it could be triggering if it affects you. If you feel it, there's a chance there's triggers involved here. So just be aware of that and take care of yourself in whatever manner you need to. It is, I don't know, I guess about 4.5 years ago. I've been sober from alcohol for about 1.5 years. And during this 1.5 years, things are clicking into place. Things are happening with me. I'm talking with my wife, and as I'm talking, things are falling out. Things I didn't think of saying before, like my mom used to hit me. And it's opening up conversations that are now tripping doors. And, I'm pretty angry. I'm realizing that this tough love was not, it was a brainwashing, and they engaged in it. And it was torture. And I realized how I had been hung out to dry instead of being asked why I was hurt. And I was full of anger and rage. And, I have those feelings now, but it's much different in this healing process. But back then, as I was beginning this healing process, I was raw. Very raw. I call my cousin. Him and I used to be like brothers growing up. And I love him. I love him now. I loved him. I call him because I had just woken up the night before previously and sat straight up in bed, and all my memories clicked together. Everything was a little bit gel, everything I wasn't sure of just went chunk, chunk. Crystal clear 4K resolution. I see it all. That happens too. You can check that out. People that quit drinking after sustained decades of a healthy drinking hobby, their memories come back. My memories came back. I call my cousin, and I need to talk to him. I don't know who to talk to. I'm already estranged from most of my family. It's interesting. Right before I called him, I did call my mom, and she denies everything and refuses everything, and takes no accountability, like always, like abusers do. So I call my cousin because I'm just looking for support. I'm just looking to be seen and be held. And he's a journeyman preacher that lives in the state of Colorado, and he hasn't found his flock, but he has the label preacher. And I need somebody to talk to, and I felt like maybe possibly he's going to be safe. So I hit him up, and we start talking. I'm telling him about everything. I'm telling him about the memory that I just remembered, that when I had accompanied my grandparents on a trip out to the farm when I was, I don't even know, 12, right in that area. I go out to the farm, and I'm hanging with one of my older cousins that I like. He's somebody I looked up to. He's kind of athletic and just cool dude, cool man. He's a cool guy. I'm hanging with him, and out of nowhere, he attempts to sexually abuse me. I can't fucking believe it. I've already been through this. And I get the fuck out of there. So I'm relaying this to my cousin as I'm saying, hey man, this farm is not right. Shit happens out there. I'm trying to relay my story from the under the veil of the black sheep, the drug addict, the crazy guy, and I'm trying to be heard and not be silenced. And he believes me. He tells me he believes me. And then he tells me he was abused too, out on that farm. And he tells me his dad was abused on that farm. And I was already having 1,000 holy shit moments a day right now, with everything falling in, and with everything that had happened and everything that was going on. There's barely any oxygen in the room. And that's my mom's older brother. The one, his dad, my first cousin, is my mom's older brother. I'm sorry, my mom's younger brother. Doesn't matter, but my mom's brother. And we talk for a while. He's letting me talk, and it's pretty beautiful, because it was the first time I've been seen, outside of my wife, who's not from my family, but this is from somebody inside my family who actually understands and knows these people, knows the cousin that tried to molest me. Knows these people when I was out there. And we talk about the other cousins, because this isn't just us. We're just one branch of a large family tree out from this farm. we talk about the other cousins. And I start talking with other cousins and reaching out and finding out stories during this time of conversation with my cousin, the cousin that was like a brother to me. I'm finding out more and more pain, more and more abuse, parents that sexually abuse their children, siblings that sexually abuse their siblings, ranch hands, the help that was abusive. This was a systemic and ongoing pattern that was outside my family too, that was ranging, and it was just unchecked, wild, west, crazy bullshit that's like really unexplainable. But it was happening. This wasn't a horror movie, and this isn't some script I'm working on or anything else. This is reality. And as we all know, just like, what is it? See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. We all know that phrase. We all know the phrase, reality is stranger than fiction. And my family and the audience that is watching me and the audience watching on replay, this is where I tell you that truly reality is stranger than fiction. The details of that farm and the heinous shit that was going on out there. You want another old chestnut that rings true? This was back in a time when men were men and sheep were nervous. I don't say that as a joke. There was one man so bad in our family that he was only spoken about in whispers. What he did to everybody, and what an incredible predator and abuser he was. And he was a former sheriff's deputy too. Abusers are pervasive. Abusers are everywhere. Abusers are protected by the people who deny the abuse, deny that it happened, and conform the survivor until that survivor breaks. Then that survivor is shamed. And that's the pattern. Anyone who broke, anyone who used drugs, anyone who rebelled, anyone who showed symptoms of their abuse, they were and are ostracized, shamed, and labeled. And how that works is so abusers and deniers can keep their dignity, keep the family going. We don't know why he uses drugs. We don't know why. Many movies run on this bullshit. Nobody ever asked the drug addicts why they hurt. Nobody never asks the people that are extremely intelligent and have ADHD and overfunction why they think they overfunction, or offer them or talk to them about their past, their parents, their people around them, what caused them to overfunction. What we're going to find out is it's not the food. It's not some bullshit external stimulus we're looking for these things that are what they are. We don't know why he's a drug addict. Why? There's just people with certain chemical imbalances that use drugs to make themselves feel better. Bullshit. What happened to them? That's what we need to start asking more of. What happened? And with the children of my grandparents, nobody ever asked what happened. Nobody ever asked them what happened, and they never said, and to this day they don't say. So the abusers, deniers, and conformers in my family have some certain traits about them. They all like to get, northward of 300 pounds. They all shove food into that pain hole that every one of us has, and every one of us deals with it differently. But in this family, you can shove the food in the pain hole, say you just have a weight problem, and it runs in the family. and you get by with it. Use some drugs, pariah. Truth teller, talk about it, crazy, ostracized, bipolar. So I'm talking with my cousin. We're talking about all this. We're talking about everything. I'm close and I feel a little bit connected to my family member that I haven't talked to in decades. 2 decades at least. And I go ahead and tell him, I can't live with this darkness. This is not how I am as a person. This is not how Grandpa trained us. This is not what Grandpa, no. I'm gonna go ahead and start telling people. I'm gonna take this story public. I'm gonna tell everyone I know. I'm gonna gather my cousins up. I'm gonna help them go public. And we are gonna just let this story out and let it breathe and let it be what it needs to be and drag these abusers into the light, because that's all they deserve. I didn't think this was going to be difficult. I didn't think anybody was going to be, I don't think there was going to be any pushback. And the first thing that shows me that things aren't what I think they are is my cousin disappears. The one I've been talking to. He ghosts me. He quits responding to my messages, calls, nothing. He stops preaching. He moves out of the state. He moves to some remote lake up north, some little village. And he becomes a blackjack dealer at a casino. Can't make this shit up. He trades his Bible for the blackjack table. But still, he still runs his children's outreach ministry that goes to Africa and feeds kids and takes care of them and reads them stories and all that stuff that they need. You know, he's the only business contact for his ministry. The only way to get a hold of anybody in that ministry is him, and you can't really get a hold of him. And he's always soliciting donations. And my grandma, who we'll talk about in a little bit, my grandma, her card was locked into a monthly donation until we got it canceled, the card. Couldn't get a hold of him to cancel it, so we canceled the card. There's a braid happening, so stay with me. Stay with me and just hold on. You can put your tables in an upright position if you need to. Because, I mean, this is turbulent and it's bouncy and none of it's bullshit. You're going to probably hear a lot of it's bullshit. Might see it in the comments later on. Might be some emails I show you. But it's not bullshit. We're going to zoom out a little bit. We're going to pull back from my cousin that I just talked about to his dad. One generation back, and my mom's brother. My mom's brother. It's not her older. She didn't have an older brother. My mom's the oldest in the family. So my uncle is abused out on the farm. He never acknowledges it. Never talks about it. Doesn't confront anyone. He chooses denial and conformity. He's a big old hefty boy. He's, deacons in the church with, I told you yesterday in the story I explained, he's deacons in the church in Wichita, after we're all in Wichita now off the farm. He's deacon in the church with married himself a judgmental wife. And they're wrap themselves in their religious cloaks and they go on to start judging everyone. A good term for this is a good term for, my uncle and my aunt is whitewashed tombs, and I think they should be familiar with that. They're righteous, they're judgmental, and they're religious. They have no problems of their own. My uncle sits on the family secret. He never says nothing, and he casts the stones at the addicts and the whores in his family. He positions himself as responsible. Like I said, he's a deacon of the church. His best friend is married to my mom right now, but at that time he was married to somebody else. My mom had an affair with him. Him and I's interactions caused me to leave the family in handcuffs when I was 18. But that's my Uncle Mike's best friend. And they, take care of the First Baptist Penitentiary together. They run the aisles and all that good stuff that deacons do. And he positions himself as responsible. He positions himself as kind of a money guy. He works for my grandpa's business that my grandpa buys and starts and builds after he becomes a psychologist in Wichita. My grandpa, who is entrepreneurial, smart, a polymath, intellectual, sensitive, an artist. Mike works for my grandpa. And in working for my grandpa, he runs the business, he runs the money, and he's in a place of authority. And he's my grandpa's oldest boy, and that means a lot to my grandpa. And so he was able to take control of my grandpa's business. And he didn't just take the business, he took grandpa and all of that. I don't know, it's murky. Something in the 80s happened, but my Uncle Mike is able to assume all of my grandpa's business, my grandpa's capital, my grandpa and my grandma's autonomy almost. He took control of everything and had all the money in his power. If you refer back to yesterday, at the end, when I'm 18, at the end of living with my family, and my mom and my stepdad have moved back in with my grandparents, me and my stepdad have a huge fight. He beats the living fuck out of me and pulps me, and I leave the family in handcuffs. That's how that was yesterday. After that, and after I get out of jail, get my own place, and finish high school on my own, living in my own apartment, my grandparents kick my mom and Mike out, finally. I begged them to never let them in, but after that happened, they kicked their asses out. And they should, man. So now my grandparents are living in a large home. It was a home they bought in Wichita, and they've had it for 18, 19, 20 years. It's been the family home, the family homestead in Wichita, Kansas. They're too big for it, and they're not old, but they're getting old, and they don't want to keep up with all the different floors, all the different bedrooms, bathrooms. I mean, it's a large house. Mike, I'm not sure how all this went, but the house is sold, and Grandpa and Grandma are moved in to a mobile home. A mobile home. And I know that's not a bad thing at all, but Grandpa and Grandma, that wasn't their life, and they had money and had a difference that we all have in our minds when successful grandparents are at their end, and it's time for them to go ahead and downsize and start being not taken care of yet, but have smaller spaces. And for them, Mike chose a mobile home. This would be a good time to breathe. I can tell I'm getting worked up, if you don't mind. This is Unmasked. My name is Jason Fortune. It's day 11, December 25th, Thursday at 3:40 p.m. Mountain Time. Telling these stories are hard. It's not like I practiced them, and it's not like I even really want to tell them, but silence cannot stand anymore, and darkness cannot be the way that we live. But you know what? For right now, for just a few seconds, let's ground and relax again. You have your feet on the floor. Feel what's holding you. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Slow inhale. And a long, slow exhale. You know, I say this a lot, no matter how difficult the story is, no matter how hard the conversation is, no matter how tense your day is, there's always, always time to slow down. Put your feet on the floor and take some breaths. Always. Always. The two things you always, greatest gifts you can give yourself, slow down and breathe, and say no. Incredible gifts. My grandparents are moved into their small, shitty mobile home. And my grandma does her best to fixing it up like my grandma does. And I can tell they don't like it, and they're not saying nothing, because that is the way they are. That is the way my family is. Silence. No matter what, silence. No matter what, silence. If you need to open your mouth, I guess shove a piece of food in it. It was undignified. It was undignified. It wasn't care. It was just straight containment. That's what my family does. Containment. They go on living this way. My grandpa's working in the family business that he started, and it's his, but it's not his anymore. But he goes in there and keeps the business running because it takes him to run it. My uncle is just the bean counter. He is not the entrepreneur. Never has been, never will be. And my grandpa had the juice and the charisma and the energy to run that company. It was his company. So he kept running it because it was his. Barely receiving, you know. Barely receiving. I start working there. I come, you know, I am moving back and forth, and this isn't my story right now, but I'm blasting in and out of the picture, moving here, moving there. For a while I'm in Wichita, and I'm working at my family's business. I've come there, and they do need the help. I fell in. My uncle doesn't like me. He never has. Him and I have a big falling out over whether I'm stoned at work or not. Always up for debate. He fires me. Mike fires me, and him and Grandpa have a big argument on the spot. That was it, where Grandpa screamed, "Who's the son of a bitch around here?" And Mike answers back, "I am." And that's it. That's it. Grandpa pulls way back on the decelerator. He comes in when he feels like it. He comes in, the work piles up, the work that he's supposed to do, the work he's supposed to sign off on as being a PhD in psychology. I mean, he doesn't show up. He doesn't do his job. Sometimes the job's getting done for him, and that signature that's getting put on there isn't his. But the business has to keep running, and that's how it's going now. The leader of the business isn't there. And, you know, the pilot of the airplane isn't there. And like you would think, when the pilot exits the plane crashes into the ground, and that's exactly what happened. The business collapses. My uncle drives the business into the ground. Doors closed, and the building gets sold. Funds are not deposited into my grandparents' account. Ran it into the ground, sold everything, pocketed everything. All right. Next part of the story. Florida. My grandma moves to Florida because her
daughter, my mom's younger sister now, moves. My mom's younger sister moved to Florida. My grandma's alone in Wichita. She has all of her family around her, but this sister, my mom's sister, my grandma they have been very close all through everything from the farm forward. And my aunt my grandma's very capable, she's in her early 80s at this point, but she's capable. She is mobile and doesn't need to be taken care of, but she wants to go spend time in Florida with her. She wants to go to Florida too, which is, old people like Florida. My grandpa's not around. Grandma wants to go to Florida, and she might go live. And she does that. There's some fight in the family. They don't want her to go, this and that, but we push. This is what Grandma wants. So me and the people that love her push, and she moves to Florida. Here's a twist. I'm going to put this little feather in your cap. We'll come back to it later. The oldest son, my uncle, the one who fires me from that business and the one who assumed the business for my grandpa, the one that has financial custody of their assets and is taking care of my grandma now, or the executive of her estate, he took out insurance. He took out an insurance policy on my grandma for when she got older that would cover and make sure that her days when she couldn't move around as good as now, she would have the care she needed. And not only just the care she needed, not plugged away in a nursing home, but this was a very solid policy. I don't know if they didn't expect her to live a long time. I don't know if they thought, they were never going to have to pay off on it. I don't know what it was. But this insurance policy was taken out. Go ahead and keep with me now. Nobody really knows about this. My grandma kind of knows about it, but she does not know any of the intricacies of the policy. She knows nothing about it, and everybody thinks it's not really jack shit, and it is. It's an incredible policy. Throughout living in Florida, my grandma endures a hurricane that wipes out everything she ever had, all of the pictures of her family, all the jewelry she's collected from all of her aunts, uncles, mothers throughout the decades. My grandma has she's kind of amassed a lot of this family heirlooms. Yes, she is sitting on the family heirlooms. And loses everything in the hurricane. Is now nothing is retrieved from the hurricane. It's told to my grandma that it's like it's full of bacteria. It can't be fished out of this hurricane damage and brought back, and that's what's told to her, and she gets nothing. She starts over and she's literally buying clothes at Walmart. She has nothing. They had to get out for the hurricane. She got a bag to get out with, and that's all she has. She's a 80-year-old woman with an entire life. She has seen so much in this world and sitting on so much, and everything is lost. And she starts over in Florida, and she never gets it back. She never regains what she lost. Not dignity-wise, not assets-wise. She starts living in places none of us would ever want her to live in. And she's telling us she's okay. That's how my grandma is. She's telling all of us, I'm okay. I'm okay. And the time passes, I'm dealing with my shit too. I'm not down there rescuing grandma, so don't think I'm over here painting myself as the big warrior or big. I have my problems. I have my issues. I'm trying to survive and not kill myself because of my complex PTSD symptoms, as many of us are that came from that farm. So, to make the long story just a little bit shorter and move through the years a little bit, my grandma is now living in low rent, all age mobile home parks. She's not living in retirement homes where she belongs, where she can be a little bit safer. She's surrounded by meth heads. Just think Florida trailer. Just think Florida trailer park. Blocks, engine blocks out next to the trucks. Windows. I mean, just go ahead. Make them images in your mind. That's where my grandma was. And it wasn't awesome at all. And then the cousins that did show up to see her, they're there for the Instagram photos. The family that show up, they get the photos with her. They enact the performative love. No one helps my grandma out. She's the only person that takes care of her is my aunt. My aunt, who is also from that farm. My aunt who hides her own abuse. There's a lot of love between my grandma and her. I'm not talking shit on that. But everybody has their failings. Everybody makes huge mistakes. And in my family, you don't get to make mistakes. You don't make mistakes ever. And if you do, you better be real fucking good at hiding them. The youngest son of my grandpa and grandma, his wife, who doesn't belong to this family by blood, but she has been around since they were young. My uncle got her pregnant young, and the family ostracized her for it. His older brother, my uncle, everybody cast stones at these two. And we're fucking mean to them, and I remember it. I'm a little kid, and I remember this stuff. I remember how they talked about them because of pregnancy. But that is how the abusers hide and the conformers get by, is cast stones at everyone around you. Anyway, she steps in. My uncle, my grandpa and grandma's youngest son, their youngest son's wife gets involved and gets down and starts digging in and getting my grandma taken care of. And my mom is living in Florida now too. She's went on down there. There's kind of been a little bit of a migration. But still, nobody knows about the insurance policy, and grandma is living in poverty-stricken, poverty-level bullshit that she doesn't deserve, nor she has the assets to not be that way. She's now old, my grandma. We're fast-forwarding, and she is 95, and she can't move that much. She is, when she falls in her community, as old peoples do, they call the maintenance man to come and pick my grandma up and get her back together. That is the condition she's lived in at this point now. Also at this point, my aunt, who has been taking care of grandma for 20 years, for just taking care of grandma, they're best friends. My aunt has a health problem. Also, some family shit comes up that we'll talk about later, and she checks out now, as when you have complex PTSD and something weighs so heavily on you that you cannot handle it and you are going to break. It's called, in the healing community, getting your pin pulled, like grenade. That happened to my aunt. She's in her 70s. Her pin's been pulled and she's now checked out. She cannot take care of my grandma anymore. That's why my grandma's even now literally suffering and won't say anything, because that's how my family works. She can barely walk. She's living alone through an extreme amount of work, effort. My aunt flies down to, my aunt of the youngest brother flies into Florida, gets my grandma, who's 95, gets her on a plane and gets her back to Wichita. They get a hold of all of the books in all of this process. my grandma's finances. They find out about that insurance policy. My aunt is a warrior, and she wouldn't give up, and knew that she took care of business. They get her into now an assisted living center where my grandma has all the support she needs and lives like a queen. And she's 95. She's made it to here. She's made it to 95. She's endured everything. And Mike, my uncle, that he's known for over a decade. He's known since my grandpa died that my grandma had this policy, and he never pulled it out. He never found it and let it be enacted, and he let it sit there, and he let all this happen to his mom. He didn't give a fuck, and there's a reason why, and we'll get to that later. That's elder abuse. We're going to now start calling everything like it is. That's what Unmasked is about. I know it hurts. I know people watching this right now that this hurts. No more silence. No more darkness. My grandpa broke these cycles. In my first story that I told you about, my grandpa broke these cycles so I could sit here now and be this person. He helped me not kill myself even after he was gone. He's been with me. His chair is sitting right there, the leather chair that I grew up on from the house. He is with me now. And he is no saint. He is a great man, but he was no saint himself. Here's my Christmas present to the family. I participated in these family get-togethers over Christmas. I've been crushed by the judgment of this family. I've been arrested on this holiday twice from my own complex PTSD issues. My grandma was financially abused. She was neglected. And she's been exploited. That's elder abuse. My aunt gets a hold of all of her finances, my uncle, and they start digging through everything, and they find out that my other aunt, my mom's sister, the one that's been taking care of my grandma, started using her finances when her own finances started getting tight. This isn't anything new. The thing is, she didn't ask. It's a slippery slope when you start taking money. You think you're going to pay it back, all the bullshit that goes on with this, but it is a slippery slope. And that slippery slope expanded into other credit cards, into other family members of hers' pockets that they were using in my grandma's name. Come on. Let's call it what it is. That theft was exposed. The aunt that, was in charge or had access to my grandma's funds because she was her caretaker, she's not there, man. She might be watching this after it gets posted on Facebook. She doesn't talk to anybody. She doesn't do anything. And I told her about the CPTSD. I had some conversations with her right after this happened. She allowed me to talk to her, and I told her it's not going to get better, man. But she couldn't handle the judgment that's going to come with stealing from her mom. And I mean, come on, that's some heavy shit. And my family, my judgmental, religious, pearl-clutching, hypocritical family, they're not going to let my aunt off. So she just goes into hiding now. She refuses communications. Out, checked out, checked out. The theft's been exposed. There's no accountability from anyone. My grandma even says, she's letting it go. There's no remorse, and there's not going to be any restitution. This is a family that all sits in church together. Back in the 80s and 90s, sat in big rows, deacons of the family, deacons of the church, big family church, huge church. Everybody's sitting on huge secrets. Everybody's sitting in the dark, and everybody's silent. Anybody that steps out of line, start throwing the rocks. Of my grandpa's children, of his 4 children, 3 are abused out on that farm. They're going to deny it, that's fine. I can all but prove it with their actions and history and all the stories and that I've collected and all the cousins I've talked to, and I don't really give a shit about their denials. When you're abused on this farm, it's not like it happened once. That abuse that tried to happen to me, the abuser, my cousin that tried to abuse me, I didn't live there. If I'd have lived there, it'd have been a different story. But I was able to escape, and I didn't ever fucking go back. I never got around him again. I knew I stayed clear. My aunt, my uncle, and my mom, no protection, like I told you. Vast, isolated. We've talked about all this. All 3 of them never confront their abusers. All 3 of them are still alive now. They're mentally deteriorating. They're physically deteriorating. And they're, they would tell you all the reasons why. They'd tell you all their medical reasons why. My mom might even try to bullshit and go back to the bipolar label. Who knows? People backed into a corner like this, they'll say anything. Anyway, they're all isolated. My uncle, let me back it up. They don't have any problems still being judgmental. There's no problems with the oppression. There's no problems denial. When I was a kid, going to family gatherings with all these people were much more like Salem witch trials than they ever were. Happy, safe places. Oppression and judgment. That's the echoes that go along with abuse. My uncle, the one that assumed the family business and control of the family and my grandparents, he's dying of a rare disease, slowly suffocating to death. You're lucky if you can get a conversation out of him from all the pills he's on. He's done. My cousin, his son, the preacher, the blackjack dealer, same disease. He's hiding. He won't talk. If you get to see a rare appearance of him, it's rare and superficial at best. He knows the secrets. He knows I know. He's hiding. My aunt, my mom's sister, after the theft's exposed, after her health takes a major turn, before the theft is exposed, her health takes a major turn. And why? Why is that? After years of taking from your mom, the stress, the sickness, it finally manifests. So she's in hiding. She's fully isolated. No phones are answered. She talked to her mom, told her mom she was sorry, but I mean, she's not there now. She's a ghost of a person. She won't lean into the healing. She won't talk. Nothing's wrong with her. It's literally tragically comical. My mom, who knows? I haven't checked any stats. She could be watching right now. She reads constantly. She's a voracious reader, not a voracious learner. She's not a polymath. She's smart, but the ravages of her life has ripped her apart. She's a disassociative reader. She's an escapist reader. She's not there. Abuse is a cancer and it eats you alive. And if you sit on it, this is what happens. The dark truth of all this is all of them are hiding their abuse. The abuse was buried, silence enforced, judgment weaponized, survivors sacrificed. This is what CPTSD and intergenerational trauma look like until the cycles start getting broken. Until enough is enough. There's no more darkness, and lights like spotlights get shined onto the abusers, onto the conformers that block for them. What's the end state for these three people I've been talking about? My mom, her sister, and her brother. Denial, anger, judgment, control, conformity. Silence protects abuse. I'm not from Spain. Silence protects abuse. And the truth ends inheritance. The truth ends this. Saying all this stops this. Letting people know what happened makes this not happen anymore. Whew. I didn't do this show, this circle, this space, and it is not a show, and I'm sorry I call it that. I get tripped up on this, but this is a space opened to talk about this kind of stuff, and that's what Unmasked is for. I don't do this to out the abusers, even though that is what's happening and that's what they deserve. I do this to create space for the survivors. These are the people that matter. Any of you listening to me? If you are an abuser and you're an unrepentant denier, fuck you. I will jerk the sheet off and drag your ass right out into the light, unapologetically. You don't want that to happen? Start making changes. They're visible and they'll be seen and felt. Keep denying. Keep denying and keep seeing what's happening. Keep seeing how this story furthers. Keep seeing the different platforms I will take and keep telling this story. Because I'll tell you what, I barely told this story. This is surface level at best. For those of you that are survivors, for those of you that come from this farm, And for those of you that have a farm inside you that's not the farm that I talk about, but it's your farm, there's space for you. We are coming to a place now in 2025 where it is absolutely all right to pull your abusers out and put them on the barbecue spit. I know it feels weird, and it's something that we haven't done. This is brand new. This space is brand new. What I'm doing is brand new. I'm doing it for me, and I'm doing it for you. And I'm doing it for you abusers too. You deserve what you get. Absolutely and unapologetically. And I'm here to talk to anybody. Any of you abusers feel that I'm wrong? I got this space right here. I know you got access to a computer. Come on my show. I'll make space for you. You and I can have a good conversation. Any of you survivors that want to come on the show here, I'm up for it. Any of you that want to email me privately, you can get a hold of me at jason@sagecollective.care. It's a new day, coming on to a new year. I've been healing for the last 6 years of my life. And it's been difficult, and I've gotten here on purpose because Grandpa started something that I'm going to finish. Maybe I won't be able to finish all of it. Maybe he started something that I batter ram through and make some more progress on so more people can go on and finish this. For those of you that want to remain silent about your abuse, I understand, man. I get it that it was the 50s, and I get it there's nobody to talk to, and I get it that life is layered on super deep and you just can't talk about this. I get it that you are unable to talk about this. That's all on you. Those are all your decisions. For those of you that are, for my aunts and uncles that are listening to this, Grandpa Terry changed, and you had a chance. You saw this through him. All I saw was anger over the fact that he was able to change from the way he was on the farm and became a different person after he went to school and got his psychology degree. But all of you carried on the hate and the anger. And look at all of you now. And also, fucking shame on you. Shame on you, motherfuckers. Shame on you, abusers. Don't think for a second I'm scared of any of you. This has been a pretty intense show. I have a lot of intense feelings around all this. But we are at the end. There's been some internet flowage throughout this show because I'm up on a mountain at 9,400 feet with Starlink and the other community members around me. It's Christmas. And they're watching Christmas shows and being all happy as they can be. And internet sucks. Internet's having some problems. And then, after this show's over, I'm going to go have a real good time too with my beautiful family. This mission that I've taken on, it's not something I chose. I was put here to write books and to be a creative and be an artist. But after I woke up to all this abuse, there's no sitting back anymore. After watching my cousin who bow out, after watching, I talked to everybody to try to get this story out. I talked to news outlets, nothing. I talked to literal people in Wichita in high-powered positions in the government that this is their job to protect people, and I told them what was going on with my family. I told them what my cousins are doing. I told them everything that was going on, and nobody would help out, and nobody would do anything. And it blew abuse is tolerated here, and abuse wins. It's winning right now. Abuse is winning right now. But not here and not around me. It doesn't win around me. Abusers cannot stand up to me. Makes me feel good. Makes me feel good to have done this work, to have gained what I've gained, to reclaim my story, to reclaim my power. And I know it scares some of you. And you know what? Don't think this story is over. This story is the beginning. Your story with me, what you did to me, what's happened around me, this story, all of you. We all going. We're all going. And this will be talked about. And I know it hurts. And I don't fucking care. I know it hurts for the survivors too, and for you I do have compassion. I know some of this hurts. Can't go on anymore. It just cannot go on. So for those of you survivors that are hurting and want to remain in the dark, I don't know what to say other than I'm here with you. I care about you. But this has got to stop. So if you need to sit back, that's fine, because I got this for now. But it's not stopping. This is the end of my 3-part story. Started with my grandpa. Yesterday was about me and my mom. Today was about the rest of the family in this little branch of the family tree. And in this little branch, this tree is huge. This survivor story I'm telling you is echoed all through this family tree. And it looks like this. The CPTSD, when you have if you could get everybody together of this family and you could actually gather everybody up into one place, which isn't possible, but get a chance to see everybody, you would see looks of sadness, dejection, shame, oppression, anger. I've been there. I've been around it. I've been to the funerals. I know what it's like. I've been to the family gatherings of happiness that aren't happiness, but I know what it's like. So there's no bullshitting there. Anyway, thank you for listening to me. I'm grateful to all of you that took the time to spend with me for the few minutes you did, or the entire show, entire circle, whatever you chose. I'm grateful for that. Whoever you are, whatever your position is, I'm grateful. Whatever mask you wear, I'm grateful for you for spending time with me. Merry Christmas. I know this is a strange show for this, but it is what it is. Merry Christmas to everybody. I'm going to go spend time with my family. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be on to something else. We are going to take a break from all this for just a little while. Maybe tomorrow will be a little bit more. I don't know. We'll just see. Do you know that I don't script any of this? I don't prepare for any of this. I didn't know I was talking about my grandpa till it was his birthday. I didn't know I was talking about what I talked about yesterday until I realized yesterday was the anniversary of me being arrested twice on that anniversary. And having a dog killed on that anniversary. Christmas Eve isn't great with me. And then today I just wrapped it all up. So anyway, my point being is we'll see what tomorrow is. I don't know yet either. My name is Jason Fortune. This is Unmasked. I try to do my show every day at 1 p.m. Mountain Time on Twitch and YouTube. These last 3 shows have been so intense I wasn't able to get right at the time because these stories aren't easy to tell. And so I'll try to do better. Any of you that want to join me at 1 p.m. Mountain Time on Twitch or YouTube, there's reminders that you can go onto those and find and be set, and it'll notify you if I'm running late, but it'll notify you when I'm coming online. I always upload the times when I know I'm getting close to coming online. There is ways to find me. My email is jason@sagecollective.care. I'm here for everything. Want to throw stones at me? Want to tell me I'm doing good? Awesome. Anyway, all of you guys have fun for the rest of the day. This has been an absolute being able to tell my story and reclaim my power. I don't know if you all understand what this is, even just for me, but it's taken years and decades. Some of you grew up with me younger and knew I had problems, but we didn't talk about it. It's taken decades to get here, and I'm beyond grateful, humble, humiliated, just to be able to share my story and share it and not be afraid. Thank you. Thank you for all this, and I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.